Hello, I am your teacher, Mr. Pacitti, and this is my classroom here in Manchester, England. So put away your mobile phones, put away your fleshlights. It's time to concentrate, it's time to study. This is SmackDown Live, and this is Graded. We kick things off with SmackDown Live General Manager Paige, who makes her way to the ring to a huge pop. She says that it's great to be back home in England, but she can't talk for long because she has a man to introduce, and that man is the SmackDown Live Commissioner. But more importantly, he is the best in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the money, Shane McMahon. So out comes Shane with the trolliest of grins on his face to some genuine heat. He makes his way to the ring, and then before he can start talking, Paige says, "Wait a second, Shane, let's get a photographer in here first. Let's capture another lovely photo of your face next to that beautiful trophy." They do that, and then Shane grabs the mic and says, "What up, Manchester?" Think of it as a tone down, "Who's your daddy, Montreal?" Shane quickly reveals that he doesn't think that he's the best in the world. No, that title belongs to SmackDown. All of the SmackDown superstars, his brand, even you, Primo. And then he says that he acted on instinct to ensure that a SmackDown Live superstar won the WWE World Cup. Oh, right, so I was ready for full-on heel Shane McMahon. I thought we were going to get a character with some actual depth, but that didn't quite happen in this promo. WWE have been booking Shane McMahon as an actual wrestler for a few years now, and that's ridiculous. He's gone up against the likes of AJ Styles, The Undertaker, in relatively competitive matches, despite the fact that he's obviously not a full-time wrestler. And I thought that WWE, their thinking here was by having Shane McMahon win this tournament, which, let's face it, didn't mean a great deal anyway, and having him proclaim himself as being best in the world, I thought that could have been a good thing. Hear me out. If Dolph, Miz, Seth, Ray, any of those guys had won the tournament, it would have essentially become an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy 2.0, this thing that doesn't actually mean anything and is quickly forgotten about. However, having Shane win that tournament could have actually led to something better, some decent character progression, a power-hungry daddy's boy who's simply playing wrestler. That would have got under your skin, it would have got under mine, and I know the heel GM thing is certainly played out at this point, but I do think that would have at least been a little bit fresh, a little bit new. So I loved Shane winning in Saudi Arabia because I thought it worked a certain section of the audience who are quite difficult to work, or at least I thought it did. But that only makes sense if you pull the trigger and turn Shane heel, and that didn't happen here. Instead, this was just a promo to hype Survivor Series, which is fine, that's less than 2 weeks away, but I just think that more could have been achieved. So Shane runs down the Survivor Series card before introducing the man who will captain Team SmackDown. That man is Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan makes his way out, but is quickly interrupted by The Miz. Miz hobbles down to the ring, still selling the injury from Crown Jewel, and he says that technically he did all the work. He owns 2/3 of that trophy, and together they are co-best in the world, co-besties. And then he says that he should be the captain of Team SmackDown, and Shane agrees. But then he makes them co-captains. Daniel Bryan and The Miz co-captains. End of promo. So lots happened in this promo, but it's a tough one to grade. I guess I'm going to give it a C. Essentially, it was just lots of admin, and from Shane especially, I expected just a little bit more than I did it for the SmackDown. We then go backstage to Miz and Daniel Bryan, co-captains, who are joined by Shane McMahon, and Shane explains that by the end of the night they've got to pick the remaining 3 men for Team SmackDown, and Miz says, "Don't worry about that, Shane, because I've already got my first pick, and that pick is Shane McMahon." Bryan says that he agrees with The Miz because Shane has more on the line than anybody else. Personally, I would have loved it if Shane had just inserted himself into the match. Like, he should be team captain, surely. And if you're pissed off about Shane McMahon being in this match, then good, because fingers crossed it'll lead to a heel turn. Hey, maybe at Survivor Series, maybe Shane is going to turn on Team SmackDown, go over to Raw, and he will be the one to defeat Brock Lesnar and become Universal Champion. I think it's time for a match, eh? The New Day taking on the Usos. The winners will captain the SmackDown Tag Team Survivor Series team. Not the main team with Daniel Bryan, The Miz, Shane McMahon, but the tag team. It's all a bit much, this. A fun enough little match. I enjoyed the saxophone twitching, distraction play by the New Day. You'll have to go and watch it. That's the best that I can do to explain it. And you know what I enjoyed more? The Usos winning. This one gets a B+ from me. Some fun spots here. Big E missing the spear to the outside. Kofi's trust fall, always a thing of beauty. And then Jimmy Uso with the powerbomb from the second rope, followed up by the splash. The Usos picking up the win, and they've had a few big wins recently, which is really nice to see, especially that one against AJ and Daniel Bryan, and an unlikely team, I think, to be captains of the SmackDown Tag Team Survivor Series team. Thought that would be the New Day, but an unexpected result and one that I'm very happy with. After the match, the Usos grab the mic and invite the New Day to be a part of that Survivor Series team. The New Day accept, handshake, nice touch from two teams with just such tremendous history who always impress in the ring. They're so fun to watch. Backstage promo with The Miz and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan has made his pick for Team SmackDown, and that man is Rey Mysterio. Get those masks sold. But Miz says no, he can only be a part of the team if he impresses me, The Miz, in his match against Andrade, Cien, Almas. I'm salivating already. They then decide that they will each pick one wrestler, have those two wrestlers square off in a match to close the show, and that man will be the final member of Team SmackDown. What a lovely idea. Back to the ring, and out comes the man trademark, your SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, who is here to address her upcoming match against Ronda Rousey. Becky runs down Ronda Rousey, says that Ronda's titanium body will be let down by her weak mind, and at Survivor Series, it's not her respect that Becky is coming for, it's her arm. Brilliantly scripted stuff. Becky is gold on the mic, and it's still just so nice to see her getting this time on our screens every week. It's been a long time coming. This one gets an A- from me. It was short, it was sweet, it was to the point, but it did everything that it needed to do. It sold the match in an effective but entertaining way. Becky then says that she's all worked up and she wants a fight. And who answers that call? None other than Nikki Cross. Finally, the Cross has come to SmackDown. That didn't work. So out comes Nikki Cross, flanked by Sanity. We haven't seen those guys in a while, and arguably the finest female character on the WWE roster as a whole. And she grabs a mic and says, "You want to play? You want to play with Nikki? Let's play." Becky grabs the mic and says, "I don't play, I fight." The match gets underway, and a good match it was. Nikki has a strong showing here, importantly showing off some of her unorthodox character-based offense, like she traps Becky in the ring skirt and then beats her down and so on. However, Nikki doesn't win, and she shouldn't win. She shouldn't beat Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is the SmackDown Women's Champion. She has an upcoming match against Ronda Rousey. Becky Lynch should be destroying everyone in her path in the lead up to that match. So why debut Nikki Cross now? Sanity have been wasted since their call up to the main roster, and unless it was just for the sort of hometown pop for Nikki Cross, I'm just not sure why you would choose to debut her in a match against the SmackDown Women's Champion and have her lose her first match. It just didn't make sense to me. Basically, there are enough other women on the SmackDown roster that could have been fed to Becky Lynch to make her look strong and a fighting champion and all of that without it being Nikki Cross. The match itself gets a B from me, and an interesting tidbit, Finn Balor was the man who trained both Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross, who was actually in the arena last night for the Mixed Match Challenge. Kinda cool. Moving on. Backstage again with co-captains Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Daniel Bryan has picked Jeff Hardy as his choice for later in the night, and The Miz has picked Samoa Joe. Those two will square off to decide who will be the final member of Team SmackDown. Back to the ring for Rey Mysterio versus Andrade, Cien, Almas. An absolutely match of the night here. So good to see Almas back on TV. His appearances have been sporadic over the past few months, and I would have actually loved to see him being part of Team SmackDown, but sadly that wasn't to be. So a great match, totally worth a watch if you haven't done so already. I know I've said it before, but Almas is a guy who isn't actually that hurt by these losses. It would certainly be nice to see him win a little bit more, but he was bested by a ring veteran last night, so that's not a problem. And most importantly, everything that happens between the ropes Almas just looks gold. His offense is so convincing, so in fitting with his character, and last night, once again, despite losing, did him wonders. This one gets an A-. These two have tremendous chemistry together. It was so obvious just from last night's match that that is the case. And another thing that I've probably said before about Almas, but I'm always left after his matches feeling like, hey, whoever he's in the ring with, I'd like to see a little bit more of that. And that is a testament to Andrade Cien Almas's talent. This guy is special. He is the total package. After the match, Randy Orton attacks Rey Mysterio. Another feud which I'm excited by. Hits him with the RKO. Boo, you nasty man. Backstage again with WWE's original odd couple, Miz and Daniel Bryan. And essentially Miz just says that, hey, Rey Mysterio, that guy that's been wrestling for quite a while, was impressive enough. He's on the team. Next, a quick backstage promo with WWE Champion AJ Styles, who essentially just says that he promises that he's going to beat Brock Lesnar, and that's a spoiler. Too short to grade for sure, but I am excited for AJ Brock too. I think AJ versus Brock was probably my favorite Brock match since his return. He actually let AJ get a lot of offense in, and he really sold for AJ, so fingers crossed we get more of that at Survivor Series. To the ring to reveal the SmackDown women's team for Survivor Series, and they are Carmella, Asuka, Naomi, Sonya Deville, and Charlotte. Charlotte, the music's playing. Where's Charlotte? Not Charlotte. Instead, out comes Mandy Rose, who is pissed that she isn't on the team, especially after she was the one who eliminated Sonya Deville in that Battle Royal at Evolution. What the hell, Paige? Mandy runs down all of the women in the ring, and then we see a Mandy-Sonya stare down to close the promo, and I'll give this a B. It's the B show, and that's what I do. And it was nice to see a bit of character development for Mandy and Sonya, who in fairness have been stagnating on SmackDown. Main event time, and it's Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. The winner, of course, is the final member of Team SmackDown at Survivor Series. A decent enough match, not too much to say here. I'm going to give this one a C+. Joe's in control at the beginning of the match. Jeff regains control, hits that sweet-ass barricade spot, but is ultimately put away by Joe with the Coquina clutch. Good to see Joe get a much-needed win. After the match, he gets in the face of Daniel Bryan, who was at ringside on commentary. They scrap for a little bit. Daniel Bryan locks in the yes lock, and then the Miz gets involved. Miz gets punched by Daniel Bryan, and then in the melee, in the chaos, Shane McMahon enters the ring and is thrown to the ground by Daniel Bryan. Dissension in the ranks already for Team SmackDown. Overall, this SmackDown gets a B+. Let me know what you think by clicking the I above my head. I'm not sure which side it's on. Highlights, for sure, Almas versus Rey was terrific. The Usos versus The New Day was also great. And we're less than 2 weeks from Survivor Series, as I say, but there's lots of storyline progression here in not much time, and that's, it does feel a little bit rushed. But overall, a fun episode of SmackDown. One more thing before I go. Thank you for all of the lovely comments to my mum. It was her birthday last week, and lots of people were saying happy birthday, Lynn Pack, in the comments. And thank you to the one random nutter who actually sent her a present. To her house, somebody sent a full-size refrigerator, and she was overjoyed by this. You should have seen her face light up when she opened it. So that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and you can follow me on Twitter here. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.